YouTube. Um, I've been getting a lot of people wanting to know how I make my yarn dreads, so I decided to do a tutorial. It's a lot easier to show you than to try to explain it all over and over and over. So please bear with me. I don't really do tutorials and things like that, so I apologize if it's really bad. So let's begin. You're going to need, in order to make yarn dreads, which are going to look like this. These are just little, this is just a thin little ponytail set I had made. It takes about an hour, hour and a half. Really depends how detailed you are on your wrapping. I also do have a full set of dreads, which look like this. It's like more of a fuller set. Now the fuller sets do take a little more time. It also depends how thick you want your dreads to. The thicker they are, it's a lot easier to wrap. Okay, so in order to get those, you're going to need some supplies. Main thing is yarn. You can have anywhere from, I would suggest 2+ colors. But really it's all up to you and preference. I'm just going to use some white. I have multicolors, but I'm just going to demonstrate a few things on the techniques. So I'm just going to demonstrate with this white. I have black pants on, and that's why I'm using the white. But you can find really cool colored yarn at your local craft store or whatnot. So you're going to need yarn, a really good pair of sharp scissors, because you're going to be cutting through layers of yarn, so you don't really want a dull pair. It's going to fray your edges, so you really want to make sure your scissors are nice and sharp. You're going to need fat, the real good, like, goody hair ties. Make sure they're the thick ones and not the thin ones. The thin ones can work, but if your dreads are too heavy, it might snap the band, so you're going to always make sure you have the thicker ones. And then you're going to need small little rubber bands. I just seen at the store the other day. I have a ton of these, so they do sell clear. So if you're really picky on, if you don't want the black bands to show, I really suggest to get the clears. And you're going to need a lighter. Be very careful when you use the lighter. So once you have all your stuff, you are going to take a nice good section of your yarn. I like to pull it through the middle, and then your yarn don't really roll away from you when you wind. And this is kind of a process. You're going to select the length you would like your dreads to be. I'm going to say I would like mine to be about this, which is about knee to knee if I sit Indian style. And then you kind of want to give yourself a little more slack, because they will shorten when you wrap your dreads. So I start by putting the string underneath my knees. You can also use like a little board or a table and wind it around it. Really, it's all up to you on technique, as long as it's the basics of getting it wrapped like this. I know some people like to stand up and wind theirs, but I do knee to knee. This is my technique. But what you're going to do is you're going to take your yarn, you're just going to wind it around and around and around and around, and you're going to get a pretty thick bundle. If you're unsure, where you want to be, you can always measure your thickness of your dreads by, just sectioning it out. And always remember, there's 2. You're going to have 2, 4, 6 when you're splitting them, if that makes sense. So once you get your amount, Now if you want to change colors, all you simply do is you're going to cut your previous color and just tuck it underneath so that that doesn't get away from you, and then you just add in your other color and start winding in it. Now once you get all your yarn wound to the size that you would like to have, you will now use your hair tie. You will keep it like it is. I'm just going to put this board under here so you guys can see how this hair tie is secured. You're going to find on the top layer, you're going to find your middle, and you're going to lay your hair tie underneath it. You're going to fold it up kind of like a little taco style, and you're going to push the one side through, and you're going to pull it up. You're going to want to make sure that they're really tight, and you're going to pull it. Now that always, I don't feel like that's secure enough, so you have this little knot here. You can pull that up. Okay, you're going to take this loop and wrap it around, and you're going to tie it through that loop, and you're going to pull it as tight as you can, and you can always adjust your so now you have this little loopy hair tie. So now that you did that, you're going to take your scissors that are very sharp, and you're going to cut the bottom part. Now I always line it up with my hair tie, so that way I know I'm even. You can always trim them down too if they're not even towards the end. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut it, which now will give you this nice little kind of ponytail. You have like a yarn fall. You can actually just wear them like this. So this is what you're going to have. But I already have some I'm working on, so we're going to just switch over. Now this is a lot thicker, so this will give you guys a better idea than when I just... So, as you can see, I apologize, they're all tangled. So here's what we have. And do you see how thick my sides are? And this is actually going to be a pretty thin set. So, I mean, there's a lot of yarn involved. You can even just do small sets and then layer them up, you know, put 3 or 4 together. It's really up to you how thick and how long and all of that. So now that we have this, what you're going to do is you're going to keep it separated. Once again, it's just a personal technique. You're going to somehow want one of these sides held down with it. You hold it with your knee, a foot, a book. I usually just kind of tuck it under my knee here. I have black pants, it's so hard to see. So I just like tuck it under there so it just doesn't get away. So now what you're going to do is you're going to grab a section, and this is where you figure out how big or how small you want. We're making ours about this size here. It's kind of thin. So then what you're going to do is you're going to select 2 pieces of yarn. So I got a piece of purple, and I'm going to take a piece of this orange. So you're going to select 2 pieces of yarn. And you're going to start at the nap of your dread, and you're going to twist it. You're never going to let go of that section you had. You're going to keep a hold of that, but you're going to take the 2 pieces that you had separated, and you're going to, let's see if I can get it up here. You're going to wrap it around, and you're just going to keep wrapping that around. Now I like to wrap mine 3 or 4 really good times up at the top. I mean, if I can, let me put this camera a little bit closer so you guys can see what I'm doing here. And you just kind of, you just keep and you're going to want to pull it. I'm sorry, you're going to want to pull it really tight so you know that that's secured and it's not going to come undone. You're going to keep going. So you're going to keep doing this. And you can add 3 pieces or 4 pieces of yarn. It really depends on the pattern that you're trying to go for. But you're going to continue to do this. And as your thread starts to shorten, you'll just kind of tuck that back into the pile and then get 2 new pieces of color. And keep winding until you get to here. So then, once you get to the end, you're going to take one of the small rubber bands and you're going to secure it around there. Once you did that, then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to just trim as neatly as you can without cutting your rubber band. You could leave it this way. It's absolutely fine. Me, I'm a little more picky. I don't like to have that frayed edge on there. So that's where the lighter comes in. Now, I will forewarn you, it's not overpowering, but this stinks just a little bit. So if you don't want your house to smell like burnt yarn or anything, I would suggest doing this outside or in a garage or craft room or something like that. I wouldn't do this in. But you take, and you're just going to burn the edge, and then just kind of poke it in there. And it gives it just a little bit of a nice little polished end. Once you've done that, you're going to take a heat flat iron, and you're just going to run it over your yarn. And what that's going to do is that's just going to help smooth out some of this and make the yarn bind together and look a little more put together. So once that's all done, you will then have your finished product, which is your Dred Falls, which will look like this. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope I explained this good enough. If not, just leave a comment and I will try to make a better tutorial on this. So just keep an eye out, I guess. Bye.